Hi everyone, I put a poll out recently on my channel and you guys voted for a video all about whether or not I think it is too late or potentially still early to invest into Palantir. So that's exactly the video that I'm going to make today. Now I did think people would actually pick this option, to be honest, because I've seen a couple of people over on my Discord ask a similar question, and given the price increase that Palantir has been seeing over the last year or so, it's only natural that people are starting to ask this question. I first purchased Palantir back in November 2021 when it was around $20 a share. And what a long way we've come since then. From that point, I started to learn more, research more about Palantir, and then I started to seriously accumulate more and more shares from March 2023 all the way up until now, and I'm still buying shares to this date. And right now for me, this position is up about 90%, so it's doing really well. I'm just grateful that I was interested in this company and I started doing some serious research back when this stock was between $6 to $8, and I was accumulating as many shares as I possibly could back then. This means my average price is pretty decent. I have, however, been continuing to buy as the price has gone up over the last however many months, so that has risen my average price a little bit, but I'm still very happy with my return. But I know that a lot of people didn't get into Palantir back then, and actually they've only started becoming interested and actually finding out about this company in recent times, given how it's gained popularity. So now those people, you might be one of them, are wondering whether or not it's actually too late to start a position in Palantir right now. Or maybe you're watching this and you already have Palantir shares, but you're hesitant about whether or not you should actually add more. Of course, nothing in this video is financial advice, but I do have some thoughts that I'll share on this topic. Firstly, and potentially the most important thing alongside your own research, your own due diligence into researching this company, is actually to define what your time horizon for investing into this company is. If you are wanting to make quick money, and there's nothing wrong with that, but if that is your goal and maybe in 6 months' time you are expecting to withdraw what you've invested into Palantir and you're hoping, you want to sell out and you're hoping to make lots of money, if that is you, then potentially it could be too late. But I don't know that, of course. No one knows what is going to happen. No one can predict the market. Absolutely no one. But a stock like Palantir, a growth stock in its early stages, is going to be pretty volatile. It already has been and it will continue to be so. But there's no certainty that the rise in stock price that we've already been witnessing from Palantir will continue. In the short term, I mean. In the long term, I have other ideas, but in the short term, we don't know what's going to happen, and we have seen a crazy rise already, so there's no guarantee that that won't pull back. There's no guarantee that that will continue indefinitely. We don't know, but if you are betting on taking your money out of this position in the next 6 months, you could potentially be too late. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. But anyway, I don't doubt that this year, 2024, will be quite crazy in the stock market. The price of a stock is driven by supply versus demand. It's like a seesaw. If the demand for a limited number of shares outpaces the supply, then the stock price goes up. And if the supply is greater than the demand, then obviously the stock price normally comes down. So if we have a difficult year in 2024, economically speaking, macroeconomically speaking, retail investors and maybe even institutional investors, but specifically retail investors, might actually start pulling their money out of the stock market. This then decreases demand and bam, the prices would fall. Of course, this is kind of oversimplifying it. There are many factors that come into play. And there's no knowing, of course, like I said, with what the markets will do, but I do think it could be a bumpy old year. Now, I'm not necessarily meaning that I think it will be volatile in an upward or downward direction in particular, just a pretty volatile, crazy year. Because I'm thinking that recently we've had an insane surge in the market, especially those tech stocks, those AI-related tech stocks, and this can't continue indefinitely. Prices won't just keep going up forever. It doesn't work like that. There will eventually be some sort of pullback. But that's not to say that I'm anticipating the pullback to happen anytime soon. I'm not trying to say that we are entering a market bubble. I'm not trying to say that everything will crash, nothing like that. Just at some point we will have a pullback. It's only natural, but also there still could be quite a lot of run left in these stocks. 2024 is of course an election year as well, so that's something to consider. And we've got the Nvidia earnings coming up in just a couple of days' time. You might be wondering why I'm mentioning the Nvidia earnings when I'm talking about Palantir. Well, it's because actually, for some reason, Nvidia sort of paves the way for the rest of the tech market, the rest of the AI stocks. And if Nvidia do particularly well or don't do so well, I'm thinking that they will do very well, then we could see a short-term upward increase in the rest of the market. There's also been and continues to be a massive interest and continuation of AI spending and budget increases across the board. The market is showing extreme greed right now. There's uncertainty with the economy, what's going to happen with rates. We've had the UK and Japan announce an official recession, even though both of their indices are doing better than they have been for a very long time. And actually, they are nearly on, or if not on at this point, all-time highs. So that's confusing. Either way, I think long-term investors just need to keep their emotions out of it, stay committed and stay focused on their strategy, their goals and their plans that they've put in place. So if 2024 turns out to be a very crazy year, fine. We have our plans in place, we know what we're going to do. So you could be in the situation where you buy Palantir today at $24.44 a share or whatever it is right now, and then in 6 months' time you come to withdraw your money. You're trying to, that was your time horizon. It's a short-term time horizon for you. In those 6 months, you could actually find out that you've not made any money or you've actually lost money on your position. That's if the market goes through a tough time. Of course, the flip could happen. The surge could continue rising and you could do very, very well short term on Palantir. But I don't like to play that game. I don't like to take that amount of risk personally. I think if your time horizon for Palantir and just investing in general is longer, even better if it's longer than a couple of years, even better if it's decades. If this is the case, then I think we need to focus on a few things. One, we need to understand that stock price and intrinsic value are not the same thing and they don't always align. So you need to decide whether you think $24 a share right now for Palantir is overvalued or undervalued. So you might do your own research and you might come to the conclusion that you think that Palantir right now is either fairly priced or potentially even overvalued. It's too high to be buying at this point. But this still doesn't mean that you're too late. So if you're finding that you think this and you're asking yourself the question of, am I too late to invest in Palantir? No, not necessarily. Because again, it all comes back down to your time horizons. Are you a long-term investor? If your timeline is very, very long, then you could just start accumulating. And then maybe you average down your price if and when there is a pullback or an opportunity, a dip to do so. Or you could go down the route of actually deciding to hold off and not buy any more or not buy any shares of Palantir right now because you think it's overpriced, it's overvalued. And then you could wait in anticipation of the price coming down for you to enter and make a position. But please remember that is not guaranteed. No one can time the market and we don't know what's going to happen. So you could, in theory, be waiting for a $12 a share Palantir that we might never see again. But what we can do as investors is make sure we know enough and research thoroughly enough to make informed decisions about which companies we actually should invest into. I have my own strategic step-by-step process for researching stocks, and I share all of this and much more in my workshop, The Easiest Ways to Find and Research Stocks with Limited Time. The link to that is in the description below. Many of you have already taken this workshop, so thank you very much, and you've left amazing feedback. So again, thank you for that. The next thing that you need to ask yourself in order to decide whether or not it is too late to buy Palantir, and I'll give you my full opinion at the end of the video, is if you are long-term, if you're a long-term investor, do you think that Palantir will be a bigger company, worth more revenue, more clients, more profit in X amount of years in the future than they are today? If the answer to that question is yes, and you do think Palantir, based on your own research, will be significantly bigger, more profitable, all of that stuff in the future than it is today, then there is a very strong chance that you will look back on this time 5, 6, 7 years time in the future and you will think that $24 was very cheap. You'll think that it's hilarious that you're even considering whether or not to buy Palantir now. This will all feel incredibly insignificant. The surge in the stock price that we've been seeing recently is a lot. There's no denying it. It's run up nearly 50% in 9 days, and I think over the last 1 year it's up by 166% or something like that. So this naturally does feel like it's on pullback territory. But then again, so does the whole market, especially when we're looking at the Magnificent Seven or we're looking at the tech stocks. We've also seen stocks like SMCI do absolutely unbelievable, crazy numbers in a very, very short time space. It seems like investors and the market are heavily rewarding AI stocks right now. Businesses just seem to be loading more and more cash into everything and anything artificial intelligence. They're rising their budgets more than ever. The demand for these solutions that are AI based are just absolutely through the roof. And Palantir is positioned very nicely to benefit from this. And they not only offer businesses and organizations, remember businesses, commercial side, organizations, government side, they have those two verticals. They're not just into commercial business, but they offer a way for organizations and businesses to use AI to actually make a real world impact to their business, to their company. But also, from an investor point of view, we've just had Q4 earnings and they were incredibly strong. And the time since earnings have been very bullish as well. We've had awards given to Palantir, we've had numerous partnerships, and all of this just has reiterated how strong of a company Palantir really are and how good their future growth looks. Now, talking from my own research, I strongly believe in their growth story, and I think that they already have and they continue to actually demonstrate this to us. There was a period of time as a Palantir investor where people were asking really valid questions, concerns about their SPACs, their marketing, their profitability, all of these things. But I think now, looking back at that time, we are in a much stronger position. And I think as investors, we kind of have the proof now that we were really seeking, the proof that we were hoping for back then. We knew it was possible, but we needed to see it in the numbers. We have that now. So I am more convicted than ever before. I will be continuing to add and buy shares because this works best for me in terms of a risk versus reward. And this is based on the fact that I think the company will definitely continue growing and it will become more and more valuable each day. And I understand that the stock price will be volatile. It will go up and down. My approach is kind of to dollar cost average as we go because I want as many shares as possible. And I will hold off if the share price goes up crazy amounts for a while, or equally if it dips significantly, I will load up more than I actually anticipated to that week. Now, I haven't been adding as heavily in recent weeks as I normally do, but this is just because I was seeing other opportunities in my portfolio arise that I really, really wanted to take advantage of. So it was kind of an adaptable strategic approach, but overall I will continue to dollar cost average in, and it's still one of my largest positions in my portfolio. I have not sold a single share. I personally think that with the growth in the AI bootcamps that we're seeing and how well they are serving as an actual marketing tool, it's perfect and it's actually converting into customers. Again, amazing. That is working extremely well. So the AI bootcamps, along with many other things, of course, I think that we will see them continue to beat and perform very, very well in their upcoming earnings. Hopefully soon we will see them get included into the S&P 500 index, which will be a big deal. We will see more partnerships, and I think also in the future we will see more product releases from them. Now, there is also the argument right now that Palantir has become too overvalued and their PE ratio is just simply too high. And maybe investors seeing this would think that actually it is too late to get into this stock. Now, my opinion on this is that although metrics like the PE ratio, like the PEG ratio, they're really important, they give us some information, I think that, but I also think that it's very, very important to look outside of just a single metric. And of course, like I've said many times in this video, and I keep saying it because I just think it's so important when answering this question, it's going to depend on your time horizon. But also remember that just because a stock has had an increase in its stock price, it's ran up recently by quite a lot, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's too late to start investing or that that position has become overvalued. Because like Nvidia, for example, I would still argue that actually Nvidia is quite cheap, even though everyone is seeing that the stock price has kind of done this recently. It kind of works two ways. You either have people that are fearful to buy a stock just because it's had, it's run higher, and then there's people that see it going up and then have a bit of FOMO and want to get in on that in case it keeps going up. So ask yourself, do you fit into one of these? If the answer is yes, then it's crucial that you remove your emotions. Keeping your average price down and as low as it possibly can be is obviously very, very good because the lower that your average price is, the more profit that you're going to get. But personally for me, I do not feel comfortable trying to only buy Palantir when, let's say, it's below $12 or whatever, because that time may have already passed. Like I said earlier, we may never see $12, $10, $15 again. But even if this is the case and we never see anything below $18 a share again, whatever the price. If the company, if Palantir are going to continue to grow over the next however many years, even if it's not at the same rate, but if they're going to continue to grow, then the current prices that we're seeing right now will look very small in the future. It all comes down to the mindset. It all comes down to the psychology of investing, understanding that you need to find a company that has good growth prospects, a company that is intrinsically valuable and it's going to get more valuable over time. They have a moat, they have products that are in demand, all of this stuff that we talk about when it comes to a good company. You need to focus on that and then understand delayed gratification. And it's a constant battle in all of our minds. I think I constantly, have emotions trickle into my investing, but I'm very aware of them. And I think I do a good job of understanding that they're there and then trying to remove them. If you're someone that has a lot of worry about investing, maybe you experience FOMO quite a lot, your mindset and your emotions really come into play and actually guide your investing decisions rather than your logic and your rational thinking actually being the things that guide your investing decisions. Don't worry, I've got you covered. I've made a downloadable booklet. It's called Mastering Your Mindset. I think it's very, very valuable. I'll leave it linked below. You should definitely check that out. And think about Microsoft, one of the Magnificent Seven. Mega company, mega cap company. Everyone knows about Microsoft. But about a decade ago, so not even that long ago in terms of a long-term investing time horizon, Microsoft was trading at about $40 a share. And since then, they've undergone 0 stock splits. And right now, it's about $400 a share. So if you're a Microsoft investor right now at $400 a share and you were purchasing at, let's say, $50 a share, $45 a share, you would have looked back now and you would have thought, why was I even considering buying more stock of this company that I really believe in when it was $38 instead of $30? Because now that's all insignificant. That's the kind of thing that I'm trying to say here. If you see a path for Palantir to continue to position themselves not only as a leader in the data analytics space, but also as a leader in the AI space, and to actually one day in the future evolve to cement themselves as one of the mega cap companies, then why are you even questioning right now whether or not it's too late to invest? It's actually quite difficult, in my opinion, to actually assess Palantir's value because they have quite a distinct revenue approach. They have different business models, obviously the government side, the commercial side, and to be honest as well, again, in my opinion, there's not really many established direct competitors that we can use as a comparable tool to Palantir. And this does make the valuation process quite complex and quite challenging. Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, has said before that he thinks they could actually become a $1 trillion company. Now, this seems quite far-fetched given their current market cap, but actually, I do believe this is possible. And even if they don't become a $1 trillion market cap company, I do definitely see them alongside the mega caps in years to come. His reasonings for this is that we might see this start to take place as the Department of Defense actually increase their investments into AI, which is still right now actually very, very small in terms of percentage of total spending and budget, but it is increasing. And the reason that it's probably increasing quite quickly is just because of all the geopolitical issues that we're seeing in our world today. That made me feel like a news reporter. The geopolitical issues that we're seeing in our world today. I need to get my own news show. But that aside, we have seen Palantir get awarded quite a number of defense-based government contracts in the recent 6 months or so. And hopefully we will be hearing about that almighty Titan contract very, very soon. And remember as well, I often forget this and it always comes to my mind and I'm just reminded of the moat that Palantir has. They are one of the only IL6 level certified organizations. So they are given the permission to actually handle the most sensitive data, the most sensitive contracts from the government. That is a unique position to be in. And then they use this with FedStart. Now, FedStart, in my opinion, is still so underappreciated and not spoken about enough. I noticed actually that FedStart got a whole slide of its own on their Q4 earnings presentation slide deck. And it said that FedStart IL5 is available now. FedStart IL6 is coming at the end of Q2 this year. And FedRAMP High is coming Q4 this year. And this will do extremely well because, like I said, they are one of the only organizations I should say, solving a real issue that is experienced by many organizations out there. So they have the unique moat of actually having the right accreditation to offer this solution to this real problem, and people are definitely going to want it. But even outside of the government, commercially speaking, businesses all around the world are increasing their AI spending budgets. The compound annual growth rate of the AI software market is rapidly enhancing, and UBS analysts are expecting the AI market to generate a massive $420 billion in revenue in 2027, which is a big increase from where we are today. And if this trend continues, there will be certain companies that capture some of that money. I think, and I'm sure you do too if you're already in Palantir, that they will absolutely be one of the companies that get their piece. So focusing on Palantir recently speaking, we have had a crazy start to the year. We've had the announcements of some commercial partnerships in different sectors, which is always good. Their total addressable market is absolutely massive, and it's great to see them expanding, outside of healthcare into all different sectors. We know how strong healthcare is. I want to see them continue to grow outside of this. We've also heard about a $650 million government contract with the US General Services as well. So there's been lots of momentum already this year in terms of partnerships. I've already mentioned this, but we had the Q4 earnings, which were incredible to see. I was very happy to see the results that they posted, and they were just so strong. US commercial customer count grew by 55% year over year, and a growing client base is very good to see. It shows that they are becoming less reliant on just a few clients, which was a concern that a lot of people had in the past. We heard that their commercial revenue grew by 32% year over year, and their government revenue grew by 11% year over year. So it is clear that US commercial is growing a lot more rapidly, a lot more quickly than non-US commercial and the government business vertical. Is this concerning? Should we be worrying about this as investors? I don't think so. There will always be a leading area of growth, and right now it's just US commercial, but it doesn't mean that the other areas aren't growing, because they absolutely are. They're just not growing as fast at this current time. Institutional ownership has been on the increase, and it's around 41% right now. And good old Vanguard have been buying lots of shares. This is obviously a bullish signal to us, because it means that there is increased confidence in Palantir as an investment. And this will only increase with the upcoming S&P 500 inclusion, which we expect to maybe hear around the next rebalancing, which is the 3rd Friday of March. So we might hear that they're getting added, but also this is absolutely not guaranteed. Just because they're eligible, it doesn't mean that they're just going to slot right in the next time that they rebalance the S&P. Palantir also won many categories in the Dresner Awards, which is great to see. It's good to see them getting recognition. And we've had a lot of price increases, but of course we have had some downgrades as per as well. But it does feel like a lot of people are now really starting to notice Palantir and are actually considering them and taking them more seriously as a potential investment opportunity. I do invite you to leave your opinions on whether or not it is too late to buy Palantir stock in the comments below. But in conclusion, my opinion, while Palantir stock has been increasing very quickly and it has seen significant growth, the company's fundamentals, strategic position, industry recognition, everything that we've been seeing with Palantir and everything that we've still got to come, it's absolutely not too late. But of course, that is just my opinion, and that is not investment advice. But I only have this opinion for long-term investors. Remember that my workshop is available to you in the description below so that you can take charge of your investing research. Thank you as always for watching this video, for supporting the channel, for giving these videos likes, for sharing them with other people, for leaving lovely comments. I appreciate it all, and I will see you in the next video.